Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Women Have Needs Too. Women have needs too. Right now, I need to encourage and empower those who've been through drama, trauma, or challenge. Today, I'm here with Debbie Dannheisser with Debbie Dannheisser Threads, and she has some amazing, beautiful works of art that you can see all around us. And each one of these comes from a painting because Debbie is an artist. And we're going to learn the story today of how this all came to life and what inspired you to start this threads business from your paintings. Thank you for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to connect with you and others and been looking forward to doing this. So thank you.
Yes. Debbie is a very special woman. She is full of love and enlightenment, and she's been on a journey. And we're going to share the journey with you today, and with the aspiration of inspiring and encouraging you to live a positive journey. And we're going to talk about the artwork that she has created over the years and how it and why it got transpired onto wearable artwork, right?
Right.
And so, Debbie, how long have you been an artist?
Well, I always tell people I've been an artist my whole life, but I didn't know it. And I didn't know it until it'll be 25 and a half years, 26 years ago, when I was pregnant with our youngest child. And I had moved from Atlanta. I had a long distance relationship with my husband, and he had two small kids. And I came down here and my socks were knocked off because the two kids who were 4 and 5, and I met them when they were younger, loved me until I came here, until they realized I was going to stay. So after we were married, everything was going great. And then all hell broke loose, excuse me. And they were like, "You're not my mother, and I hate you." And I just...
Are these kids that you gave birth to?
No.
Oh, they are not kids.
His kids. Yes, okay. His kids. So when I moved down here, I was a instant stepmom, and that was, as most of you know, and if you don't know, it's very much full of challenges because, there's a lot of, you understand it intellectually that they don't want to betray their mother, so they are protective. Yeah. So you have to constantly find ways to be their friend, and then there's the discipline challenge, and so anyway, I came down here and married my husband, and almost immediately got into therapy. And turned out she was an art therapist, which I'd never painted in my life or put a brush in my hand. But I'd always done things like I made terrariums and I sewed and I created things around the house, but I didn't even have a clue about art. Right. So that was a long story, but that's how I got into it.
No, so you were always creative. You just had never painted before. And it's so funny because the kids were okay with you being a friend.
Yes,
but you weren't going to be there.
Oh no, not a mother. Or how dare I sleep in their dad's bed? So it was just really shocking for me.
Well, they're older now, and now they understand.
Yes, they do. They do. Yes, they understand. Finally, we made it through. But the therapy, the art really helped because the therapist said, "Debbie, you're very tactile and kinesthetic. You really need to get your hands into something. I'm doing an art class with a local artist. Come this weekend and we'll paint." So I did it, and it looked like a little kid did it, but I enjoyed it, and I kept doing it. And then one night, because she was a therapist, she helped me analyze my work. Like when I would paint something, she would say, "Oh, this is because of that." And one night I got up in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep, and I painted a mother and a baby. Oh. So I was like, why did I do that? I guess because my sister had lost a baby years ago. It was a woman with curly hair. I didn't know. Anyway, 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant with a boy, and the boy had blue eyes. And I thought, there's no way that my husband and I would have a blue-eyed baby because we have brown eyes.
Neither one of you
I didn't know about recessive genes. Well,
Right.
when he came out, he had blue eyes. And so that told me kind of like that I was intuitive, and that it just encouraged me to keep going. And it just felt like a God-given thing, so it helped me. And like at the dinner table, there was a lot going on. And, when things would get heated with the kids, I learned from her to go, excuse me, I love you guys, but I am going to go paint.
I need to go paint.
Right. I would go when I get stressed, and I'd go in my little art room, and I would turn on beautiful music, and I would just paint, and it handled things.
Yeah.
It just gave me a place to go. So,
and sometimes it's like a form of communication, right? And it's a communication with yourself.
it was.
And maybe the universe.
I can't tell you. I can look around and tell you how many tears are on some of these canvases.
It's so true. I remember when I turned 30, which was a long time ago, but when I turned 30, I decided I was going to celebrate my birthday all year. And I wrote a list of all the things that I've always wanted to do and I hadn't done. And painting was one of them. And I ended up painting 6 paintings that year.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, I did. And I haven't painted ever since. And it's not because I got my full of it.
Yeah.
It's just that, you get busy with life,
Right.
But I do aspire to get back into painting. And let me tell you, Debbie's paintings are gorgeous. Thank you. So how did it go? Because here's the thing. I love taking photographs. I love taking a lot of photos, and I'll take 50 photos of one friggin' sunset.
Yeah.
Because the sunset changes
It does.
every minute.
It does.
There's a reason.
I like doing that too. Actually.
Yeah. But I've always wanted to put my photos onto.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have a pair of Debbie's leggings on today.
And they look so good. I know you can't quite see
Yeah, and she
or
was-
mine. And I tried to coordinate with her, but today is black, gray, and white day,
Yes, it is. It's a great day. It's a great
which
day
is
for
far
leggings.
from all the colors that I have.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
have
Somewhere
something.
you can see.
Right.
so
I get my
much.
people pleasing out in my art because I know there's people that love color and crazy things, and I just love that. But there's also people who like calmer things. So,
Mhm.
I try to appeal to everyone.
She appeals to everybody. So how did it go from canvas to threads? Why?
Okay, so many years, so I started painting, I had a wall downtown at this little art place, and I would just throw everything up. And eventually I got more comfortable and began showing my work. And then I started donating to charities, and, it was a hobby, but I started selling and making money, and, it just became a thing. So our we have 3 children. I have 2 stepchildren, and then we have a son that's the youngest, Sam. And the kids grew up, and our youngest is 25. And then we have Josh, who is 33, I believe, or 34. And Nicole is our challenged daughter, and she was challenged as a child even. But when she grew up, after many years, and you don't want to hear all that, but when she grew up, I always tell people, she died in 2018, and many, many challenges prior to that. And we became close. We were family. And when she passed away, she died of drugs. And I always tell people, while she died of an overdose, she really died of her inability to really receive the love in her life, to see her own beauty, to see her own joy, to feel her joy. She pushed that away from a very early time in her life. Her mom moved away when she was 2.5. And I think that obviously traumatized her. But before that, I think she was really challenged with her emotions. And so over many years and many rehabs and many therapists and many times of trying to figure out how to help her, she died. And that rocked our world, just totally, you kind of sort of think that you might get that phone call, given what we went through with her for many years. But when you get it, it's a different story. And so that's how this happened.
I remember when my son started driving and I would get a phone call, past the time he was driving. I'm like, it's that dreaded call.
It is. And we, many apartments, I helped her decorate. I gave her paintings. I would make it cute. And when she would be drug-free for a few months, she would get a new job. The typical story. I've heard this story so many times. And
you just pray it doesn't happen to you. But
yeah.
it sometimes does happen to us.
It's been something that, it's in the world so much. It's like, I cannot tell you how many people I talk to on a daily basis that have this very similar story. And I'm very sad to hear that, but it does encourage me to keep going and keep talking about that, because I know that there's people that don't have someone to talk about, or they're ashamed or afraid. And we went through that too. But when we lost Nicole, we took out her apartment paintings and, got rid of the things. And, I took the paintings home with me. And at that time I had a little gallery downtown, and they were already starting to put things on tote bags, and you could put pillows. And, this lady in my little area was doing it on leggings. And I thought, oh my gosh, I want to put one of her paintings that I did, that she, I was inspired by her. She was an old hippie. I kind of felt like I channeled her energy. And
Nicole.
So Nicole, I wanted to have something of hers and wear it. So I tried it with this painting, believe it or not. It was the craziest pattern, but she was a very colorful child. And this is a mandala. And she did try so hard to calm her mind. And
so she painted that?
She did not paint that.
I painted it for her.
And I loved it, and she loved it.
Because it spoke to her.
It did.
Child.
It did. And I have another painting out there that is a woman sitting in the lotus position. And she really tried to calm her mind. She just had a really hard time being able to stop that chatter of negativity. Honestly, she could not do that. And so she would try meditation. She would try reading all these books, try all the things that I've done. Anyway, so this is the first pair of pants. And
inspired by
this is the mandala. And I never dreamed in my wildest dreams. I was a wear black legging girl. I would go to yoga, and there's nothing been on my body from the waist down that wasn't dark. So this was a real step out thing for me, but it was kind of like an important thing. So when I went to my girlfriend's house, so I did yoga, all my girlfriends loved it. And we live in Florida, and these are their beautiful colors, and they wanted them. And so I was really good at ordering and making them and ordering them. So I found this template online to do it, and it was easy. And then I'd order for my girlfriends, and then they would wear them. And then I thought, it was a really difficult time, and couldn't sleep at night sometimes. And my husband and I, would talk, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to go play on the computer in the middle of the night. I would do that. And I would click on all my paintings and see what they would look like on the leggings. And
I love it.
I have always gotten my paintings, if I liked it, professionally photographed, which made it high res, which you could do that kind of thing. So I would click on it, and I had a tree series. I did trees, and I would put them on the leggings, and then I'd buy
the trees are really cool. You can go to DebbieDannheisser.com,
Debbie
Dannheisser Threads.com to check out all of the beautiful paintings and all of the threads.
Yeah.
And I love the bags as well.
So, I did heart paintings for dog animal rescue organizations. I love sunflowers. I mean, I just started playing, and transferring these things onto clothing, and then I did a show and things.
And you
took
do
off.
fundraisers. You
I do,
mentioned it just
right.
now. And let's talk about what you do for fundraising.
Yeah, like I used to donate my artwork, and you know, I've been learning how to have a business. Like I'm true artist. Numbers like go in my ears and come out the other side. So this has been like really healing for me. It's been a gift. I didn't mention, but when this started taking off and all my girlfriends were loving it, I thought, you know what, I am going to dedicate this part of my business to Nicole and help keep her alive. Because what I noticed when after she passed, it was in particularly for my husband, he just shut down. He felt
Understandable.
just completely shut down. And to say her name, his whole body would just rivet and freeze. So I said, the newspaper called and the magazine called and they wanted to do an article on it because people were talking about it. And then he would help me. I would say how I would feel and how it got started. And he would take what I said, my feelings, and make it make sense. He's a beautiful writer. And I noticed he would have emotions and cry about it. So I thought, oh my God, this is going to be a healing thing. And then my mother would help me. She's 96. And she would help me tie the bows. And then Nicole's real grandmother would help. And then my son would help me with some of the computer things. So it just kind of like felt right to do it as a family and do something that would help keep her spirit alive and
help the family
heal. And it gave us a vehicle to talk about her. And she was colorful, and I made it a mission, not only for myself, but that didn't come until later, but I made it a mission that I would help other women that were challenged, that had challenge, trauma, grief, whatever it is, that I would help them remember who they are, to step out, be bold, do something different, go towards joy, which these colors, kind of speak that. So it just became like a little private thing. But then as I talked about it and other women would talk about it, they would you'd wear these crazy colors and it was infectious, and it just became contagious, and it just has kept me going, honestly. And it has kept me talking about Nicole and remembering her. And, there was so much bad, for lack of the right thing to say. It helps you remember the good, because underneath she had a heart of gold, and she wanted the same thing that I want.
A giving, loving person.
Right. She was a giving, loving person. And I know
she just forgot to give and love herself.
Yeah, she didn't know how. And I certainly have struggled with that my whole life. Like, I always heard that you had to love yourself before you could love anybody else. But I never really understood it until I started doing this kind of thing and then listening to other women. And this business has helped me to see myself differently. Like, somewhere along the line, it shifted from being all about the mission for Nicole and everybody else to, oh my gosh, me sustaining my own joy, and me seeing myself differently, and me stepping out. I'm like everybody. I wake up, I don't wake up all pretty and happy every day, and it helps me to keep that mission of, being my best self every day. And now I get to talk publicly, and I get to share with you, and I get to hear other stories, and it just keeps me going. So
it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle for healing, not just for you and your family, but it's a vehicle for healing for other people. I know when people, when I wear these, and I have another pair too, and I'm going to buy some more today. I can't wait. Because they're comfortable and they feel good and they make you happy.
They do.
They make you happy. And so whenever I wear them, people are like, those are cool. And I get to tell them the story, and I don't always have time to tell them the whole story, but I, at least say, go to the website and learn about it. There's two different pieces here, because there's the person that we might be speaking to today that is going through what Nicole was going through. And then is the person who might be going through what you had gone through with Nicole until the point where she was no longer here. And then what you've been experiencing since then. You know, if we speak to the Nicole, what kind of advice, you know, or, you know, inspiration or encouragement can you give that person today that might help them?
To put it really simply, and I know this sounds ridiculous in a way because there's so much more to the stories, but it to me, just taking one step, and it's toward like finding that joy. Like I remember my therapist saying, just paint from your heart. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, I remember one time I did a painting and I had some pretty flowers that somebody gave me, but I painted some flowers and I painted my keys in a little purse. Like I was trying so hard to relate to my inside, but I wasn't able to do it. And what I've learned is breathing to your heart, to your feelings, to your belly button. It kind of stops the brain. Like even my husband teaches it like to his clients. He's a lawyer, and people are nervous and they chatter, and they get all up in here when you're nervous, and a lot of times you're uncomfortable to be intimate. I mean, it's scary to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I deal with it on a daily basis, and what grounds me is really just breathing, and that is my simple answer to life. I think meditation for 3 minutes a day, I've been doing it for 3 years, has changed my life. And I want to do it longer, but I'm not that girl. I'll do it for 3 minutes, and it helps me connect to my entire body. Nicole had a body issue. She had an eating disorder. I had an eating disorder my entire life. And
so you two had
we
more
had
in common
more in common than I even wanted to admit. And I couldn't stop my brain from going, and I had negative spins on how I looked, and I was awkward in my body. I've always been very awkward in my body and self-conscious. Like I wouldn't even wear flip-flops. I didn't want you to see my feet. I was so self-conscious as a younger child, and she was that way as well. But I didn't have any tools to get through that. And to me, yoga, meditation, and just breathing is a start.
I breathe when I have a difficult time going to sleep at night.
Yes.
I use that breathing tool.
Me too.
And I can't even count how many breaths it takes me sometimes, because I'm like, because the truth is when you are breathing in through your nose and out your mouth, and you are connecting with that breath, just the breath. If you're just connecting with the breath and you are feeling it go through all of your organs, for those people who've never done it before, you're like,
yeah, right. I'm telling you.
I learned it in exercise class because there was one of my exercise leaders who did this at the end of every exercise class. We spent the last 3 minutes on the ground, on our mat, on our yoga mat. And it was not a yoga class, it was a stretch class. And she would tell us, imagine the breath going past your lungs, past your diaphragm, past your organs, into your pelvis area. And you feel it and you imagine it, and then you're pushing it back out. And let me tell you, when you are doing that, you can't think about anything else. You can't. If you're in tune with that breath, you cannot think of anything else. So your advice is, when you start having those bad feelings, just take those breaths.
It's like a little gift you give yourself, just take a moment and just be with yourself, and it just kind of starts with that. And then it's like finding a color. Like I really started baby steps. I started finding a color that I loved. And I'm telling you, those pastel colors just make me so happy. And you know, doing hearts, it sounds childlike in a way, but I'm telling you, it's the keys to the kingdom for me. And it has helped me to get over a lot of fears. And I might still have that mind of a person that has an eating disorder with that chatter. And sometimes I want to get really full, it triggers me. But if I remember to breathe, you know, it dissipates.
It just goes away.
It does.
Really?
It does.
That's amazing.
It has been a work in progress, but for that's my Nicole. Like I would always wish for that for her. You know, I would always wish for her to be able to slow herself down and feel herself, you know, but a lot of people are afraid to feel, because especially if you have trauma, drama, and challenges, that's the last thing you want to do is feel it. It's the last thing.
That's
like
why they started taking the drugs, because
Yeah.
they want to numb that and they want that escape.
And that's really what happened. She had so much pain inside that she just got used to not feeling. And I know for me, and I know for most people, when I talk about it, they're like, I'm not going there. But if you connect to yourself and feel it, it kind of moves through you and it becomes easier to handle. And I'm telling you, you know, grief is like an animal. I have never had anyone close to me die like that. And I've never seen my husband hurt like that. And
I don't think that there is anything that could hurt you more than your own child dying. I mean,
I know.
Sorry.
There really
I only
isn't.
have one child.
Yeah. And, you know, seeing and feeling that, and I am a feeler, and having my own combined with everybody else's was more than I could bear. And I had to reach out, you know, and get help and talk about it. And, you know, there's grief counseling, there's, you know, Tidewell Foundation.
Which you did a fundraiser for.
And I'm going to,
Yes.
and I have done before, but I will do it in my store November the 17th, which is a Wednesday, 5 to 8. And they have a Blue Butterfly Grief Center where kids go, adults go, anybody that's lost anybody, and they help you find a voice to speak your grief somehow. And you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to talk about it at all, but there's so many other ways you communicate. Well, I did it through art, and art became a mirror for me to see, like, and with this business, so like much like a blank canvas, I didn't know what I was going to paint. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where it's going to go or where it's going to take me. It has given me that practice with this business, which I have never run a business before, and learning every day. And now I've got my hands around it. I'm really okay, and I just trust where it's going to go and the flow, and I'm easy on myself when I make mistakes. And I swear I learned all that from painting, and how that translated through painting, I had no clue.
Isn't that
Of
crazy?
the impact it would have on my life.
Yeah, and for you, it's painting. For somebody else,
Yeah.
it might be music.
Right.
It might be, you know,
Dancing,
just go
or
walking out in
drawing.
the woods or
Yeah.
on the beach. Or,
anything that brings you joy. Anything.
so we did talk. So we did talk about, you know, how to address the Nicoles that might be going through what Nicole did. What about the parents who have a child or a friend or, you know, a relative that is currently going through something that Nicole was going through?
Boy,
Any
that
word
is,
for them?
you know,
No, it's
I
different
think
for
in a
everybody.
way, it's kind of the same answer.
Yeah.
It really is, because when I came into the family, there were already wounds there that I felt.
Mm.
And to have them resist me when it was like my milk was coming in. I wanted to love on them. And when they resisted, that brought up all my wounds.
Oh,
So I think when you have a child, and we still have two boys, and when one went in the army, one went to Afghanistan, and there's still challenges, there's still drama, there's still trauma, and any parent, and God forbid anything happened to a child of yours, but there really isn't another answer. It's just that same thing, finding a way to help you through every challenge, every bit of trauma and drama that you have, so that you won't attach to it and lose your own sense of self and life. It's and also talking about it, because there's so many people that are going through it, and there is no right answer. My husband has so much guilt about what he didn't do, what he should have done,
but you both did so much.
We did so much.
And really, at the time, you probably thought that you were doing everything that you could do.
And every
But as
day.
a child, as a parent, you feel like when you have that loss, I'm putting words in your
No,
mouth,
it's true.
but you feel like there could have been one more thing.
One more thing.
One more thing.
And I do that as well. But I get the opportunity to talk with more people. I have an outlet. I express myself. I go to therapy. I love doing. I'm really on a mission to not only help myself but help others. And I want to get myself out of the way so that I can do that. And I also want to help him, and I want to help our family. And so, he doesn't have the permission, for lack of a better word, to be as open as I am, or, he closes up. I think it's
Hasn't given
normal for a
himself
lot of-
permission.
Yeah, he doesn't give himself permission. So
So give yourself permission.
give yourself permission, right? To let yourself be vulnerable and talk to other people, and go through that shame or blame or whatever it is. Just, there are people out there feeling the same way you are. And,
Let's talk about the fundraising, because you
Oh,
do
yeah.
something special for the fundraising.
yeah, I didn't bring one here, but
Oh, darn it.
I know it's not close to us. I'd have to walk
Okay.
away to get it. But if you can imagine, like there's certain, especially Tidewell, I'll talk about Tidewell since that's my next charity, and it's very close, as you can imagine,
Yeah.
to my heart. And I also have a 96-year-old mother and a father that went through hospice, and I'm just a big, proponent for, I can sing them praises. They're amazing.
My mom too.
And they have that grief butterfly grief center, and that's one of the things I used to paint with Nicole, believe it or not, is blue butterflies, and it's a symbol for ascension and growth and change. And so on the day of her celebration of life, we had blue butterflies everywhere, and it's something that I did, and I painted a painting for a workshop that Tidewell Hospice was doing for people that have lost young kids at FST, and I painted a butterfly on the ground, but then another one, and then it morphed into angel wings.
Oh.
And so it was butterfly to angel wings. And so I put that painting, I took the butterflies and the angel wings off, and then I put it on the side of my leggings. And then I put Tidewell's logo on the other side. And so I have a section on my website called Threads Giving, and they cost a little more because it costs more to put those things on there. But I give a portion, a 15% donation of every pair of legging or anything that sells with that. And it goes every quarter. I give a check to Tidewell for that. So, I'll be having a beautiful event at this location here at my store, and I'm going to paint butterflies, and I'm going to paint angel wings.
And that again is when?
It's Wednesday, November 17th from 5 to 8. And I'll make sure it's not on my website. I make sure it is on my website. I'm not sure that it is right now, but I will. And it's a Wednesday evening from 5 to 8.
And for those who aren't local, you can shop online.
Yeah, you can go to Threads Giving and shop.
Yes.
And you can see the butterflies to angel wing leggings and sports bras. And I have a caretaker for my mother that is making tops. So soon I will have some tops, sort of blousy like this, so you can step out, go to
Beautiful.
dinner as well as exercise. And,
Yes.
so it's just fun. It's just fun, and it helps me and others. And, I just enjoy doing it. And I feel like I have a purpose. It gives me something to wake up to every day. And I get to meet some lovely people like you, and I hope that there's some little tiny nugget you can take from today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your story and being totally transparent. And, the purpose of Women Have Needs Too is to inspire and empower women to live their fullest lives. And not everybody has a cookie cutter, princess life,
Yeah.
And it's stories like these that I hope will encourage you to, reach out, get help, go take a walk on the beach,
Do something
get
nice
into
for
a
yourself,
breathing
right?
exercise, love yourself and be patient with yourself and be patient with others. We don't know everybody's story. We don't know, childhood mishaps. We don't know. I would have never known that you had an eating disorder if you hadn't told me. You look completely healthy to me.
Thank you.
And, God bless you for being able to keep that under control. And, please visit DebbieDannheiserThreads.com. Put some color in your life.
Absolutely.
Put some, or somebody else's life. I know everybody I know sees me in these. They're like, I want some, so I'm shopping today.
Oh, and
for several people.
I have to show you that I found a painting of Nicole's sketch like a year after she passed, and I get to change the colors. We didn't have many pieces of art of hers, but what we do, I change the colors periodically, and it keeps her alive. And
She's
it was
around.
one of our biggest sellers, which just thrills me
I
to no
love it.
end. She's somewhere watching and cheering me on.
She is.
Yeah.
She's a new angel that you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you again
Thank
for
you.
today. Thank you, listeners. And Women Have Needs Too. Right now, I need to encourage those who've been through trauma, drama, and challenge. And love yourself. Put some color in your life. Have a great day. Stay inspired and stay empowered.